Well, welcome to the Mark Driscoll Show Thanksgiving Special. I'm your co-host, Landon Chase, joined by this week by Pastor Mark Driscoll and his wife, my mother-in-law, Grace Driscoll. This one's going to be fun. We're excited for the holidays. We've got something for you guys to be thankful for this week as we tackle some big problems that every family has, and will hopefully set you up for a successful holiday season. We want to make memories this year, not trauma. So let's dive in and get ready. So everybody is in different life stages heading into the holidays, and you guys have been in a lot of the life stages, and you're entering the grandparent life stage, and you guys are doing excellent at that. But I would love to hear your guys' top tips for successful holidays. So if we could start with young and childless, what would be your top tip for that couple or individual that's like 18 to 25, no children yet?
I would say travel or do something extravagant as much as you're able to financially. A big memory that you can have for your whole marriage that you look back on and remember to enjoy even in a memory. Take lots of pictures, just plan a lot of fun because you don't have kids to navigate, and so make it a big deal.
Yeah, and let's say it's Thanksgiving, even if you get Thanksgiving with a family, extended family, I think a trip is great. We really screwed up, so maybe we'll tell you also how to screw up your holidays because we have done this. So tell them how we screwed up Thanksgiving when we first got married. We didn't take a trip and go make fun memories. What did we do?
We took a trip to all of the family's houses for Thanksgiving.
She was used to having Thanksgiving with her family. I'm used to having Thanksgiving with my family, and so we did 2 Thanksgivings.
Perfect.
So we were fat and happy.
No, we were fat and unhappy. And so this is the problem when you get married. You got to figure like, okay, now we're a new family. What's our new traditions? And sometimes if you take a break from getting Thanksgiving with your extended family, you get a chance to make your own memories and reset. So I would say, yeah, take a fun trip, get some time off.
Yeah, Ashley.
Whatever you do, don't eat 2 turkey dinners.
No, for sure. If you're eating 2, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Ashley and I did that. We took a trip our first year, and I know that was hard for you guys because we were like,
it was devastating. The therapist said it was trauma adjacent. Is what the therapist just told.
Little T trauma for Mark.
Yeah,
it was fun. We have some of our favorite memories.
Yeah.
We went to North Carolina and just did Thanksgiving at a fun hotel hotels do giant Thanksgivings.
Yeah.
I'm
Cool.
shocked. So it was very, very fun. All right. New families. What advice would you guys have for a new family, 1 to 2 very young children?
I would still do something fun, but start to figure out how you, as your own family, want to create memories with the kids. When they're really little like that, they can't, go do all the rides and stuff at local carnivals or festivities, but you can still drive around and see lights and go do just little holiday excursions. And I think for us, yeah, we went and just did little things with them when they were young, and they don't remember it, but it's fun to take pictures and have those memories anyway with them and start to build up what the holidays can look like. Start to figure out, okay, now they're little, but as they get more interested in more things that are holiday related, what are the things that are even offered in our area that we'll be able to do that are local?
Yeah, I'd say when they're like 1 to 2. So you can either rotate Thanksgiving if you're on good terms with both sides of the extended family. So we started doing that. Screwed up
Well, your
Thanksgiving.
family celebrated on Christmas Eve as far as
Yeah.
Christmas, and then
So I was going to say, sweetie pie. So like we do Thanksgiving with one side one year, and then Thanksgiving with the other side the other to rotate, and then Christmas we do Christmas Eve with one side of the extended family, Christmas Day with the other side of the extended family, and we would do Christmas Day in the evening so we could be together in the morning and make our own traditions.
yeah.
It was always hard though, because I've worked Christmas Eve every day for 30 years. I've worked Easter and Mother's Day and
Mhm.
Father's Day every year for 30 years. And so Yeah. So for us, rotating Thanksgiving and rotating Christmas Eve and Christmas Day helped. And then later in life, we were able to host. And so we would host Thanksgiving at our house and say, everybody's welcome. And that was a way, if they all wanted to get together, that was fine. That only works if both sides of the family, extended family rather, get along well enough to do that. But I would say when you have young children, this is where you're starting to really differentiate, set your own family, set your own traditions. And so when the kids are little, if you got to have the hard conversations about, hey, we need you guys to flex because this is what we're going to need for Thanksgiving or Christmas, have those conversations right away. Because if you think that if you have a controlling mom or dad, as soon as you add children and holidays, they become extra controlling. And if they have some unspoken expectations, they need to articulate those and ask. They can't just say, well, we expected that X, Y, and Z would happen with our grandkids for the rest of our life. So we got to talk about this. We need to settle on this. And so it's having those conversations in advance. If you're starting to get a lot of pressure heading into the holidays from older extended family members, you've got some control issues you need to work through.
And now's the time to create the boundaries.
Set the precedent when the kids are little.
Yeah. Really good. Really good. And speaking of kids growing up, so best advice for full families, 2 to 5 kids, middle school, high school, college age kids.
Yeah, I mean, those are some of your final memories with some of those kids, especially if they're high school and college age. It goes by quickly. And so while you may still be in contact with them when they go to college and become young adults, those are some of your final family memories all together as a family. And so we did travel a bit, but we just wanted to make home a really fun place, and they could invite friends over to celebrate different, times of the holiday season. We would host little parties. Like with my daughters, I took them to Christmas tea every year, and that became our tradition. And so we would go out and find a great place to be able to do that. You would take the girls on daddy dates.
I'd take the girls on daddy dates, and I'd take the boys up sledding in the mountains because they always wanted to go sledding in the snow.
Yeah.
And I'm the fun dad. I like planning fun. So for me, like I would record all of the classic holiday shows, not the woke weird ones, but the classic stuff. And then Saturday night was family movie night, and so we'd watch kind of classic fun Christmas shows. We would, when the kids were little, they'd get hot chocolate, get in their jammies. We'd drive around and look at Christmas lights. There were certain places like camps and such that were set up for kids to come and have fun for Christmas. So we'd go to those. And so we built traditions. We would do the same thing every year.
We also would take like giving tree names off of whatever,
Well, you like to adopt single mothers every year.
Yeah, but we also did like the school had a program where you could get gifts for kids in need. And so we would always get one name for each of the kids and have them go out and Christmas shop so that you're teaching them generosity. If you haven't already done that by this phase of their life, it's a good thing to implement so that it's not just getting during the holidays, but it's giving and learning how to be generous. And so that was really an important part of all our holiday traditions as well.
Well, and you always, sweetie pie, picked you and the kids would pick some single moms that were friends of theirs in school. And then you would take the kids and go buy Christmas presents for those families and then deliver them to their friends just to be thinking and serving. And then the house was always decorated. And then when the kids were little, sometimes kids want to do like really kitschy, homemade ornaments. We did, each of the kids got their own Christmas tree in their room next to their bed. They could decorate it however they wanted. Then it was kind of their nightlight. So the boys would be baseball or whatever. And so just trying to find creative ways to make it fun. So during these years, you're trying new things. You're making memories, things that work. You're doing them every year.
At this age too, I was doing a lot of baking with the girls, and the boys sometimes got involved. And then we'd take homemade jam and cookies to the neighbors, just another way to serve people around you locally and evangelize.
Yeah. And for me, I don't know. You were very purposeful. I just like having fun and screwing around, if I'm honest with you. And so Like and I would be looking like if there was like a concert or if there was a tree lighting
To the
or
Nutcracker Ballet.
yeah, the girls want to go to the Nutcracker Ballet. The boys, if there was something they want to go do, I would just try to bring lots of options to the kids and like, what do you guys want to do? And just let them choose and then put it on the calendar and make it happen. But we were pretty busy during the holiday season. But I just like heading out or being home and making memories. And when they're this age, it's really fun because when your kids are little, they're in your orbit.
Yeah.
And as they get bigger, they got friends and they got a car and they got their own world. And so you don't get as much time together. When they're little, they're in your world. When they get bigger, you got to intentionally get into their world.
Yeah.
So as long as they're little, I want to be about it.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. Love it. So the last category would be empty nesters. You have all adult children. I would frame this one around like most adult children that I know, they would be my age. There is so much pressure. There's so much control. There's so much anxiety around the holidays. So how do you be in-laws? How do you be grandparents? How do you be in your guys' phase and not how do you bless your children and not push them towards something like cut off or like just feeling so much anxiety heading into the holidays?
Wrote a book on it.
Oh,
Wrote a book on it.
fancy that.
Fix Your Family System, brand new book, and it comes with a workbook. So if you're looking for a present to give your toxic in-laws, you could give them this compendium set. And we get into all of this. But yeah, if you're older, so the older you get, the more flexible you should become.
That's good.
And as you get older, you need to take all the good things that the Bible says about generosity and serving. And so, the big idea in the book and in the teaching is, like when you got married, you didn't join our family. Ashley didn't join your family. You and Ashley started a new family. You're the head of the family. You and your wife are one. You guys decide what's best for your family. And so that means that, for us, with you, and we've got 3, married kids, that's 3 additional families. We need to go and ask, hey, for Thanksgiving, for Christmas, what would work for your family? How do we serve your family? How do we give to your family? And so it needs to be a conversation among the families. And it can't be an imposition from one family on the other families. So like this year, we're doing Thanksgiving on Monday because you guys were all saying like, hey, we got the week off. We'd like to travel. We'd like to do our own family traditions, maybe even doing our own Thanksgiving. Let's all get together on Monday. And then we have the week off. It's like, okay, we can do Thanksgiving on Monday. Praise God. We're just glad to get together. Christmas, ministry, we're all pretty much working on Christmas Eve. We'll get together on Christmas Day. And then everybody can go do whatever they want to or need to do. If we go somewhere, like we're going to go up to the mountains, it's always everybody's welcome. Nobody's obligated and there's no guilt or expectation if you don't want to come. And so if you're older, it's how do you serve and how do you give? Mm-hmm. And if the older generation will walk in and say, we'd like to have a conversation about how we can serve you and what we can give to help your family, the anxiety goes way down. Mm-hmm. As opposed to, we're here with our list of demands. The grandkids are now in the hostage negotiation. And if we don't get what we want, grandma's going to be crying for the holidays. Don't make grandma cry. Mm-hmm. And that's what creates the anxiety is usually there's a lot of expectations and then mom gets emotional and starts saying things like, I birthed you. I've sacrificed everything for you. I've given you my whole life. All I'm asking for is surrender.
An hour.
Just an hour of complete.
Can you just do this for me?
Yeah.
There can't be strings attached. And I think as a parent, there's phases of parenting where you're slowly releasing your kids into each season of life until they get into adulthood and have their own families. And I think that there's a little bit of grieving with each season, but it's a good thing, especially if you see them walking with the Lord, then it's easier to release them. But for me, I have to realize I can't have any entitlement attitude about the time that I should or shouldn't get with my kids. I can't take it personally if they don't want to come to something. I need to literally just be offering, this is what we're doing, and you guys are welcome to come. If you can't, great. We'll see you, in a couple weeks or whatever when you get back from your trip. And so it really is holding it with an open hand and not having strings be attached to anything emotionally or financially. Just offer what you want to do. And if they can come, great. If not, that's
Well,
okay.
and there's a big difference between secrecy and privacy. So if your kids get married and they start their own family, they may have reasons why they want to do things differently that honestly are none of your business, and that's privacy. I mean, they may have issues in their marriage that they're working on, and they need that time to work on some issues in their marriage.
Yeah.
Maybe emotionally, fertility, sexually, whatever. You're like, it may not, as a parent, you can take it very personal and make it very personal. You're rejecting me. And it's like, but they may have needs for their own marriage and family that you don't need to know about. Just need to say, you know what? If that's your news to tell, if you want us to know, you can tell us. Otherwise, we're just going to assume you're doing what's best for your family, and we don't need to approve of your decision. We need to support your decision because we don't get a vote on
That's
what your
right.
family does. And so, we are blessed in that we get a lot of time with our kids. We really get a lot of time with our grandkids.
Yep.
But what I would say to older generations is, if you do this, you're gonna
Driving them away.
drive them away. If you do this, you're gonna invite them in.
That's right.
And I would say, like, for us, the only reason you guys, not the only reason, but a big reason you end up with so much time with Indy is because you're like, how can I help? How can I
Yeah.
hang out with him? You guys need a date night. Like, you're blessing us. So it's very easy. It's not like, hey, I need to see my grandkid.
Right.
And it's like, well, it's not your thing. It's our son.
Right.
And so it's just changing how you say it. Hey, how can I bless? And it might be not at a convenient time for you, but you're willing to do it.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
it's super helpful.
Yes.
Well, and that's where some older generations, especially boomers, they're like, hey, we're traveling a lot, and we have a very full social life, and our kids and our grandkids are not a first priority. So when we're in town, because we're on our 7th trip, we've got a window on Tuesday for an hour, so we're going to need you to meet that. It's like, no, that's not serving, and that's not prioritizing. And so it is like, hey, we'd like to get you and your family on the calendar first. Oh, you guys need a date night? You need an overnight? All right, let us get that on the calendar as best we can, and then let us work some of our other responsibilities around that. Because I'll just be honest, like, if you're not willing to make a grandchild a priority and work some things around it, you're a pretty awful grandparent.
For sure. Well, I think you guys are fairly unique in that, is it's not really about you. Like, you're trying to serve and bless. Most other situations I've heard of and involved in, it's always like, we're here to serve the older generation, not vice versa. So you guys do a really good job of modeling that. And you guys just wrote a great resource on it. So thank you for doing that. And if you guys text family to 99383, that's family to 99383. This is a Fix Your Family. It's called Fix Your Family System, breaking toxic patterns in your family, because we all have them. All throughout the Bible, every family has toxic patterns. Even if you're from a great family, there's still some things we need to work through and break through so that future generations can be healthier. So this book and the workbook are great resources as you head into the holidays, and great conversation points. If you and your spouse don't necessarily agree, you can walk through a book like this and talk through a book like this and point to the Bible and find unity in the gospel.
That's right.
So thank you for doing that. Speaking of people trying to get help in this holiday season, a lot of people are just going online, figuring out what hits them in their algorithm, finding YouTube videos, getting fed YouTube videos. Some of this advice is not great. Some of it is. So we're going to play a specific therapist, her advice, and then get your guys' take on it, and maybe how you'd see it differently, or if you'd agree, and how you'd encourage people to set boundaries and such.
Assertive boundary setting. Assertive boundary setting is like very much a useful skill to walk into the room with when we talk about spending time with people who push your buttons, who can make you feel unsafe, who are maybe just not respectful of you and your feelings and the choices that you've made in your life, or, what have you. Boundary setting can look lots of different ways, and I do want to encourage folks to approach boundary setting from their level of comfort. So for me, I'm just a very direct person. I prefer to just really come out of the gate swinging with my thoughts and feelings and just being very clear with what it is that I'm looking for. My family by now is used to this. And so if somebody says something that pushes my buttons or rubs me the wrong way, I'm just going to be like, wow, that made me feel unsafe, and like lead with that kind of energy. But not everybody feels that way. Not everybody is in a place where you feel confident or secure enough to say that. And so I want to be clear that boundary setting can look different. Sometimes just a well-timed look can be boundary setting, especially when we talk about food around the holidays. There's lots of weird diet culture attitude that's floating around. And so if somebody says something to you about like, wow, that's your second helping of that, just giving them the weird, disgusted look is still boundary setting in and of itself. Because for folks who are not autistic and folks who are, comfortable and attuned to reading body language, that sends a pretty clear message that like, I don't want to talk about that with you. I didn't like that, or that made me feel uncomfortable.
So good, bad, or ugly?
Well, I don't know if she's a Christian, but two practical things. If there's a tension point in the relationship, talk about it before the holidays, talk about it after the holidays, whoever you've got the tension point with. Just come to a mutual agreement. When we're together with for the extended family for the holiday, let's not bring that up and talk about it. And it's not that we're not going to deal with it. That's not the time.
Because it's kind of like passive-aggressive boundary setting.
Yes.
It is.
It's not overt.
Well, so it's like somebody brings up an issue that is tension, so then that creates anxiety, so then you get a little passive-aggressive, and then you increase the anxiety. It'd be better if you just both agreed, we'll deal with that at another time when everybody's not present.
Yeah, and you could opt out.
Yeah.
If it's really bad, you could just dismiss yourself and circle back.
And that's a boundary.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would rather be direct too, but direct beforehand is ideal. If you're in a situation where someone is speaking out of turn, which often happens in family dynamics, I think you can kindly, especially if you're a Christian, say, hey, I'd love to pick up that conversation another time. Or, I'd rather not talk about that right now. But you don't have to be passive aggressive. I would just say be kindly and gracious. Sometimes we just have to eat it and then talk about it another time and not worry about the situation at hand, but just not comment.
Well, so, boundaries are like, this is your life, this is my life, that's your budget, this is my budget, that's your family, this is my family. So I do believe in boundaries.
Yes.
I also believe that the younger generation is addicted to them.
Yes.
Well, and they're addicted to what feels like trauma to them. And so they overreact emotionally to something. And then you end up with a family holiday where everybody's going at each other and everybody wants to leave. So I think this could blow up.
Well, and then it goes to, so oftentimes if everybody's setting boundaries, it's about selfishness and control.
Yes.
Well, this is my boundary. Well, this is my boundary. If you have this boundary, then I have this boundary. And it's like, okay. So to put a better paradigm over it, go to what the Bible says about serving.
Yes.
And the Bible only has good things to say about serving and servants, and says even Jesus didn't come to be served, but to serve. So if you have a Christian family, if the attitude is, okay, how do we serve each other this holiday season? It's a different conversation than boundaries. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it actually leads to a healthier family system. So like we talked about, like 3 of our adult children are married. It's like, okay, how do we serve your family this holiday season? How do we serve your family? And how do we serve your family? That is a lot less adversarial than these are our boundaries. What are your boundaries? That feels like a negotiation and control. And if the older generation will come in and say, how do we serve your family? It encourages the reciprocal question of, well, thank you. Yeah, how do we serve you guys? And if all the different families are coming, or all the different individuals are coming into the holiday, ideally saying, well, how do we serve each other? It's probably going to go really well.
Yeah.
Or at least has a higher propensity of ending well.
Yeah.
Because I've never seen a family where people were all servants and it ended up being a knife fight.
Totally. Totally. And there's definitely a weaponization, I think, as Grace said, of boundaries. And there's like so many. Yeah. And like for Ashley and I, there's non-negotiables. And those should be like a couple things.
Each family needs to have those.
Yeah, there should be a couple things like, okay, and people should know that beforehand, and it shouldn't be a super heated thing. It's like, hey, if we go here, that's crossing the line, and
right.
We're not going to be here anymore. Yeah. Like, had a sibling that ended up making fun of another sibling about their food allergy and then like tormenting them ongoing. And then she just opted out. She just wouldn't do Thanksgiving anymore or holidays at all because it wasn't safe for her. And like that was like, okay, if you're gonna get tormented and like that far, it's like it's okay to just opt out. Like the boundaries to me, it's like, okay, if the family can't respect that, you're just not probably going. It's just a lot less anxious just not to go. You don't keep punishing people and like back and forth. It's like, okay, it's just probably not a good fit for us. Maybe we'll try again later, but it's not like, oh, this boundary and then this boundary and this one and this one. It's got to be like just a couple things that, and just ground rules. You talked about ground rules at your house, and if people are cruel or passive aggressive or things like that, it's just not going to work. And you got to own that for your own family, and then opt out if it doesn't fit. As you guys, for all the families trying to figure all this stuff out heading into the holidays, they're anxious. What would be things that they should just kind of swallow and show up at Thanksgiving for, and like, all right, come on, it's okay, it's Thanksgiving? And what are things that they should draw boundaries or like maybe not go to Thanksgiving over?
Well, I would say one thing, I'll get into that, but one is sometimes by changing the setting, you change the culture. So different people's homes have different cultures and rules
and spirits
and spirits. And so it's like if this is the least healthy, couple in the family and they host Thanksgiving, maybe move it to somebody else's house and see if that doesn't change things. And you're like, well, they have the biggest house. Yeah, but if it's not the like calmest house, it's not the best house. And so sometimes even in an extended family, it's like, well, can we rotate Thanksgiving over a course of a few years and just, see, can we host Thanksgiving? If you're like,
what we did.
If you're like, we hate going to their house because the way they do family and life is very anxious and not very healthy, and we're going into their environment, well, then can we host it and maybe we set the environment? So those are creative hacks. But yeah, the couple of things are like, if you have a family where like one person over drinks, it's like, we don't want our kids to be around somebody who's drunk. Like that would
apply anywhere.
That would apply anywhere.
Absolutely.
Like this is why we don't take our kids to the casino. Things too, like if you have a relative who does just a lot of coarse or sexual or crass joking, you're like, no, that is really off-putting. We don't like that. We don't want to be around that for the holidays. Sometimes families get together and they turn it into a roast.
Verbal attack.
Of one person.
It's like, who's the person that's going to be the roast this year? It's like, no, we don't want to do that. We don't want to talk about this year is Tony's turn and we're going to talk about everything in his life that was horrible and we're going to roast him. It's like, no, I want to do that. That's not.
Thanksgiving is for being thankful, not for roasting. The turkey gets roasted, but that's it.
And anything that, there's like, I don't feel safe. There's people that are way too sensitive, but there are actual safety issues. Is the house a safe environment for children?
Is it all divided up so you can't see your kids when they're playing? That could be a deal breaker because you need to be able to navigate physical safety for your kids with people close by.
Well, and two, like even if you have little kids, is the environment considerate of them? Because it's like, well, if there's no toys, if there's no place to play, if there's no outdoor place, and you've got boys, eventually you're like, I can't just tell them to sit there for 4 hours. Like if you're going to bring kids over, you need to have an environment that is fit for kids. And some families, it's like, well, we always go to Grandma and Grandpa's house. Well, Grandma and Grandpa's house is like a museum with a bunch of, fine china and breakables. And we spend all of Thanksgiving just telling the kids not to touch anything. Well, that's
the kid's memory. No.
And you can create in that something that counselors will call a negative anniversary. So there's positive anniversaries. You're like, that's the day I got my bike. That's the day I got my salvation. That's the day I met my spouse. A negative anniversary is where it was so painful that you literally remember that negative anniversary. And as a parent, you're like, I surely don't want the holidays to be a negative anniversary. I don't want it to be something that they're loathing instead of looking forward to. And there's certain things you can tolerate when you're an adult and married without kids. But once your kids come along, you're like, I don't want them to be present in that. Like if you got a family that gets really loud and just kind of yells and screams at each other a lot, you're like, my kids, maybe I can handle that as an adult man, but my 2-year-old son screaming and yelling is not good for him.
Try and see it through their eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would be the things that you would tell like a couple in their late 20s, early 30s that they should kind of get over? And like, all right, it's Thanksgiving. Like, you don't need to enforce all these boundaries. Like, just enjoy family. That's not in the close hand.
Some of it can be dietary.
Yeah, food things.
Food things. You're like, just, maybe you can't eat everything that is at the meal. Maybe as well, just agreeing that there's certain things that we're just not going to talk about when we're all together, like politics. We do have an aunt who's a Democrat, and you don't talk about, being a Democrat. We won't talk about being a Republican. Like today, we're going to set our politics aside. If you are a Christian, you got somebody in your family that is just very anti-Christian. It's like, I'll tell you what, I don't try to convert you today. You don't try and deconvert me today. We'll just set that aside for today.
Yeah.
And sometimes too, it's if you have any bitterness, it really comes up around the holidays.
Yeah.
You're like, well, they didn't apologize. They didn't say they're sorry. They've never owned that. It's like, well, you probably have some bitterness there, and you need to forgive, and maybe someday they repent. But if the holidays are triggering bitterness, it really is on you to deal with your bitterness, not them to deal with their repentance. That's between them and God.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's really good.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. The next clip, same gal, and this is exit strategy.
Have a fucking exit strategy. One of the things that can be really useful is to talk about and to situate this beforehand. And so if you have a person, a trusted and safe person that you're going to be going through the holidays with, like for me, it's my husband. It can be like eye contact. It can be like the eyes. It can be like a hand signal. It can be a particular phrase, like a safe word. It can be a noise, whatever it is. As long as it is clear and you guys have communicated about it beforehand, your signal can be whatever you want it to be. But basically the purpose of this is just to let your exit buddy know that you've had it and that you're ready to go for the night, or that you need a minute. And so maybe that's their cue to say like, hey, let's take a walk. Hey, let's take a smoke break. Hey, I forgot something in the car. Can you help me look for it? I don't know. Do you want to run to the gas station to get more beer? Like, I don't know, whatever the thing is, but like negotiate these things and talk about these things and have that understanding before it's go time.
I don't think it's a bad idea. I mean, I think you're an introvert and I'm not. And I didn't always get your cues that you were spent and ready to go home. And so I think it would have been helpful had we talked about that before and said, hey, let's, so that you didn't feel bad saying something blunt in front of everybody. And I would get the cue that, hey, it's time to stop chatting with everybody. So I don't think it's a bad idea. If you don't use it, you don't need it, that's okay. But to have that discussion, I think, is considering one another, especially as a couple. You're considering one another. And if say, something happened with a family member of mine and I just couldn't deal with it in the moment, at least I would have an out and you would help me and I would feel cared for. So I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, I'm an introvert, so there were certain times like, I'm just going to go outside for 5 minutes, get some fresh air. Because, there's a lot of people and noise in the house, and like, I just need a little bit of a break. But what happens during the holidays, too, sometimes strange things happen during the holidays that you just didn't have anticipated. I'll never forget, won't say who, but like, we were hosting dinner at our house one year, and somebody, extended family members showed up with some homeless people they met at the grocery store who were begging for money, and they put them in the car and brought them to our house for Thanksgiving. And I was like, wait a minute. Like, you can't pick up strangers and bring them to my house with my kids for Thanksgiving. It's like, and they're like, well, we're Christians. I was like, yeah, but we also have boundaries and children, and so.
And they didn't.
And this is where sometimes when multiple people in a family or multiple families within an extended family come together, they've got different boundaries. Yeah. And so for some people, they're on their phone the whole time. And they're FaceTiming, and you're like, or they're bringing strangers, or, they're wanting to take photos and videos of your children and post it on the internet. So sometimes it's not even the exit strategy. It's the conversation in the middle of like, what do we do about that?
Yeah.
Because some families, they're like, we don't want our kids being posted on the internet. And the grandparents are posting all the videos of the kids. And you're like, And so, in addition to exit strategy, you've got to have a plan, I think, for how to clarify things as people maybe are sort of out of bounds a little bit. And there just needs to be a little course correction.
Yeah, totally. I don't know if this is popping into my mind. I had an uncle and an aunt initiate a divorce in the middle of Thanksgiving. It was but it was like a explosion kind of thing. Like,
Oh, just kind of melted?
it melted, and it was throwing things and yelling, and all of us were
wow.
like, "What is happening?"
Oh, that's
But it
rough.
was like out of a bad movie. It was
Yeah.
it was like his fourth wife. It's not like that tragic.
Oh, that's rough.
He just did
Oh.
that. But that was a good time.
Yeah, as much of those discussions that you can have preemptively is helpful.
Yeah.
But there are things, even when I was dealing with some of the pre-trauma in my life that wasn't affiliated with my family, I didn't realize going to a family function would actually remind me of some things, and it would kind of make me freeze. And so he was helpful in watching my expressions, knowing that, okay, maybe this year we need to keep it a shorter time frame, and that's okay. It's just part of maturing as an adult and healing from things. And
Well, and so in the fantastic book that I wrote, one of the things I talk about is how the holidays can be difficult because of something called reverting roles. And that is when you grow up in a family system, like everybody's got a role. Like you're the responsible one, you're the funny one, you're the organized one,
you're the foolish one.
you're the foolish one, you're the rescuer and the caregiver. And so then you grow up and you leave your father and mother and you differentiate and you become an adult or you get married. But then when you get back together, you kind of go back to your old role.
Yep.
And if you're married, it's really frustrating because it's like, I'm married to one person, but then for Thanksgiving and Christmas, I've got somebody else. And you're you until you get around your sisters, you get around your mom. And not speaking of anything.
I was going to say, you're not directly saying that
Yeah.
to me, are you?
No, it's theoretical.
Yeah. And so it's even having those conversations going in like, I love your family. I want to enjoy the holidays, but everybody, we can't just revert back into our.
Yeah.
our
I think
roles.
every family does it. Ashley feels that with
Yeah.
Yeah.
the family dynamic.
Yep.
It's just like
Yep.
very,
Yeah.
very familiar, and it's just
It's
easier
what
to
you've
go
done most
there.
of your life, and so you just hop back into it really easily.
But that's what causes some anxiety.
Yes, for sure.
And so it's like talking about that even as a couple before you go in is like, you don't have to be the one who's going to fix everybody's problems this year. You don't need to be the one that is funny and entertaining everyone and making sure everybody's having a good time. You're not the host. you
Yeah.
know.
I think removing that burden of I need to fix it.
Yeah.
It's like this is what my family's gonna do, and like I'm uncomfortable with that. Like we're just
Totally.
opting out. Like don't make it like, hey, you guys need to change everything,
Yeah.
or we're not coming. Hey, it's just probably not a good fit for us. Don't make it like, and you don't need to make it this super loaded thing. And if you guys did this and this and this, it's like okay, you'll have that opportunity later in your life. You don't need to change everything. You just need to decide if it's healthy for your family.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
your kids. Well, let's close out with a mailbag question from somebody whose parents live in Florida. My parents want to see us for Christmas, but they want us to travel to them, which means getting 2 kids on a plane for 3 hours. We asked them to come to us, but they live in Florida and they don't want to travel north, and they're trying to guilt us into coming. What would you say?
Number one, are they willing to pay for the trip? If you're saying
parents.
parents, if you're saying, hey, why don't you guys come see us? It's one thing if you're making them pay for it. It's another if you're like, and we'll pay for the tickets and we'll rent your car and we'll pay for your hotel and you don't have to stay at our house and you can have time as your family. But if the expectation is you're going to travel to us, you're going to pay for it and you're going to stay at our house, that's a lot to ask.
Yeah. So many people stay with their in-laws, and like I get it. I think it's awesome, but if there's any hint of like a struggle in the relationship, it's so much better to just have your own place. Like
You know what's
spend that money and rent a house.
in my opinion, what's even better is like leave the kids and then go for an overnight as a couple.
Yeah.
And like you guys go have a couple's overnight and we'll
All right.
take the grandkids.
You got Indy for Christmas. You guys can bring them to California.
I mean, that's not the end of the world. But yeah, I mean, well, and in that too, unless there's health reasons, like if they're really sickly
Yeah,
or
that's
something
what I was
like
going to
that.
say. Yeah, if the grandparents are sickly or have some legitimate reason, then okay. But if they're just like, yeah, it's hard for us to get on a flight, whereas 2 kids, I mean, that's a lot depending on their ages to be able to travel like that in 3-hour flight. You know how kids can be on a flight. So I don't know. It sounds selfish initially to me of the grandparents, but it just kind of depends on their situation. But if they are, if they're not willing and if they're just plain selfish grandparents, I don't know that I'd want to spend the holidays with my kids with them anyway. So it might be just the Lord preserving their holidays for them. And that is setting a boundary. That's saying, you know, if you want to see the grandkids, we are happy to have you here, but we're not able to travel. And so I don't think that's a bad thing for them to say.
I mean, you know, traveling with kids during the holidays. Number one,
Everyone's gonna get
The airports are crazy.
airports are rough, and flying right now in America is a lot of cancellations and trouble. I mean, so and in addition to weather around Christmas, like you could have delayed flights, canceled flights, kids, like it could be a thing. In addition, you know, usually the family, you know, mom and or dad is working. That's not a lot of time off. So the time you get off, you want to rest and make memories with your family, not be traveling.
Yes.
In addition, you know, taking kids, some kids travel really well. Our kids traveled well. But some kids, like getting them out of their routine, getting them to sleep. I mean,
Time change.
like it can, you're just like, this is a beatdown.
Yeah.
We're exhausted. And if you have to pay for it, it's like, it's an additional expense in addition to the holidays.
Yeah, I think for Ashley and I, we've just decided like we are gonna do things that make our family healthier and enjoy and make memories.
Yeah.
And like we shouldn't be exhausted after the holidays.
Yeah.
Like, everyone feels like, oh, it's just the thing we have to do is be exhausted.
Yeah.
We're just gonna run. No, let's make it fun and enjoy it.
Yep.
And slow down and just do the things that sound fun to us. And that probably sounds a little selfish, but it's Indy's whole life.
That's
and
right.
You want to see us frantically doing all these things and traveling and all this stuff, or like, no, we should model health and fun and family.
You want joy bonds with the holidays, not dread.
Totally.
Well, for older generations, give, serve, give, serve, give, serve.
Yes.
You do those two things, it fixes most of the problems. And, you know, and sometimes too, think about it this way. So let's say it's a Christian family and they've got their kids. They want to go to their church.
Yeah.
The kids want to go see their friends. They want to go to church with other families.
Yeah.
You know, like they've got their life, and that could be very, very important to them. And like I remember as a kid, I still remember, even though we grew up Catholic, I remember candlelight service, Christmas Eve is one of the highlight memories of my entire childhood. I look forward to it every year.
Yeah.
And so, let the kids, live their life. And you know, thinking about it too, like I just feel horrible. I mean, I've been in ministry, so like every Christmas Eve for 30 years I have worked.
Mm-hmm.
And so if there was a family like this saying, now Christmas Day, you got to get on a plane, I'd be like, then we don't actually have a family Christmas. Mm-hmm. I'm working and then we're traveling. And that's not a memory I want.
Yeah.
And we would move to Florida anyway, so that's
If
where
it was our grandkids? Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
or we would move to wherever the people are
Yeah.
from Florida, away from Florida to where the people live.
Totally. Unless it was New York.
Yes, or Seattle.
Force your kids to move.
Our grandkids would not grow up in New York anyways, because all of you guys would move.
Yeah.
None of you would stay.
Yeah, for sure. Again, to get this resource, Fix Your Family System, text family to 99383. We will send you a digital copy and you guys get the print one if you'd like. Thank you for joining us for this special Thanksgiving episode of The Mark Driscoll Show. We'll see you guys next week.